Hey TAJmaholics, welcome back to my channel. I was going to do an opening for this video, but to be completely honest, my life just became way too busy to do it. I really should have done it right after I finished making the wig, but that is what it is. So I'm just going to talk through the rest of the video. So I'm just showing you guys how I learned how to make this new wig. The first thing I do is put a shower cap on my head just to make sure that none of the glue seeps through onto my actual hair. And then I go ahead and put a dome cap over that shower cap. As you can see now, I'm spraying the cap with Pump It Up Spritz just to make the glue last a little bit longer. And then I actually ended up gluing the closure down. Usually I sew it down. I have never tried this gluing method before, but I did make this wig about 3 weeks ago and it's still holding up really, really well. I've slept with it on. Most nights I did wrap it up, but there were a few nights I just fell asleep on the wig and it was still intact, nothing lifted or anything when I woke up. So as you can see, I'm just lining the closure up with the middle of my head because I do want a middle part in the closure, and then I'm just going to kind of press it down onto the cap and wait for it to really seal down and glue onto the cap. After you've pressed the closure down, wait 5 minutes for it to stick to the cap before doing anything else. Once the closure is all secured to the cap, you can go ahead and start really constructing the wig. So what you want to do is take one of your wefts and measure it from ear to ear and then put some glue on it. It's pretty much making a quick weave, y'all, but instead of doing it on your head, you're going to be doing it on a dome cap so that you can take off the cap and make it into a wig that lasts you so much longer. So all I'm doing is taking the weft, measuring it from ear to ear or wherever I want that weft to lay, putting glue on, and then sticking it onto the back of my head. I noticed that that weft in particular just wasn't sticking on the way I wanted it to, and that's the great thing about making this wig this way. You can always take the track off, put some more glue on, and stick it back on, just so it lasts a little bit longer. One thing I noticed to make it stick to the cap a lot better was to wait between 5 to 10 seconds before applying the weft to the cap after you put the glue on. It's kind of like eyelash glue. You want it to get a little tacky first before applying it, and that will really make the wefts stay on the cap for the longest amount of time. After the first 2 wefts, I kind of just fast forward through the rest of me making this wig, but I didn't cut out any parts just in case you're doing this with me and you want to see me do it a few more times before me just cutting to the final hairstyle. I know that's really annoying for me when I'm trying to follow YouTube videos, so I just kept it all in. So the process really is measure, cut, glue, wait, and put it on the cap. It's super, super easy. This whole process took me about an hour to do, and so I will see you guys when I'm all done. So I continue that process over and over again, and I always make sure to go back and check my work, which is what you see me doing with that white mirror. That was how much the first bundle covered for the dome cap for me. So I was just showing you guys where I was at the end of the first bundle and making sure that you couldn't see any wefts through the weave when I turned around. So always make sure to go back and double check and check and check and check your work and make sure you can't see any tracks, no glue is showing or anything like that. So now I'm just going to show you guys what the hair looks like with 2 bundles installed. If I'm being completely honest, I could have done this hairstyle with just 2 bundles and a closure, but I wanted the hair to be really, really thick and really full, so I ended up really trying to get that 3rd bundle in. If you don't need it to be as thick or full, I would recommend spacing out the tracks on your head a little bit more than I did. My tracks are literally one on top of the other on top of the other. Now that everything is glued down, I'm just showing you guys what the finished product looks like, making sure that that last track is really, really up against the closure. And then I'm just going to take the wig off, take that shower cap out of the wig, cut out the little black part that's underneath the closure, and honestly, it's ready and good to go. Hey y'all, so as you just saw, I just cut off the part that was underneath this frontal closure, I'm gonna get there, y'all. So I just cut off the dome cap that was underneath the closure, and it actually still feels really, really nice. I am gonna put a elastic band in a little bit later, but the hair, I mean, what time is it now? It took me about 2 hours to do the whole process. Mind y'all, this is the first time I've ever done this, so like 2 hours beats 8 hours any day, okay? Because the last time I made a wig, when I was sewing everything in, it took me like 8 hours to do a knot. That's the main thing I didn't want to have to deal with today. So I'm kind of seeing this hair, and I don't really do black hair. Me and black hair, we're not really friends. So what I really want to do is that style that you have like a little part in the front that is like blonde. I've been wanting to do that style for quite a while now, and since I have the hair and I have this, what is this? This is the Dark and Lovely Soft Sheen thing. I've had this for quite some time, and I want to try it out. I want to test it out. I want to see how good this hair is. So all I'm doing right now is sectioning off the hair that I want to be colored, and then I'm gonna put the rest of my hair away so that it doesn't get, colored on. Okay, so I have a whole lot of product, but I don't want to waste it all on just doing right here. So I'm going to try some other sections of my hair as well. I wish I can go back and tell myself to stop and not use these hair ties, but unfortunately I did it. So I'm just going to let y'all know, don't use hair ties when you dye your hair. Just try to eyeball it or put up another way to mark where you want the hair dye to stop, because that hair tie kind of messed with the color a little bit. When I went back and added more dye in, it went over the hair tie and gave me a really weird like tie-dye kind of hair dye on my hair. You can't really tell when the hair is curled. You can't really tell when the hair is straight. It's just me that can tell because I'm a semi-perfectionist when it comes to my hair. So I would just recommend not using any type of hair ties or extra materials when you're trying to dye your hair. When I was putting the hair dye in, I was super careful to only get the part of the hair that I wanted to be dyed, so that when I washed it out, I only had to wash out the hair dye and not the whole cap, because I don't know how water is going to interfere with the glue on the cap. So I was really careful when washing out the hair dye. But this is the final product. Right now I'm just going through and blow drying it out, and then I'm going to go and straighten it so that you can see what the hair actually looks like, how it shifted color, how it's reacting to being dyed and all that stuff. For a beauty supply store hair, y'all, this really kept up and it didn't really get destroyed by heat or by dyeing or anything like that. I would definitely recommend, I think the brand is called Motown Tresses. So look for them in your local beauty supply store, y'all. You can really get a really nice hairstyle for less than $100. Now that I've gone through and straightened the hair, I'm going to go in with my mousse and apply it to where I want the part in my hair to be, just to make sure that all of the stragglies are laid down and nothing is coming up. And then I go through and cut off the lace for the closure, and let me fix this because that looks crazy. It looks actually really does not look bad on camera, but I promise you in person, sis, this looks crazy. Grab this little pencil, not pencil, but you know. So then I just take a concealer that's close enough to my skin tone, and I go in and I just make sure that part is really straight and really noticeable. I hate small parts. I think it looks so unrealistic. It just looks crazy, y'all. So make sure that part is noticeable. And then what you're gonna see me do is taking out hair to make baby hairs. I'm trying not to have as dramatic baby hairs like that look crazy and make it look like a wig. So I'm really trying to be very like light-handed when taking out the small amount of hair that I want to use for my baby hairs. So after I've cut the baby hairs to my liking, I go ahead and add some Gotspeed glue onto my baby hairs and just kind of mold them into place. As you can see, they're not too wild, they're not too heavy, they're really, really realistic. And that's just another great thing about this closure. Being from the beauty supply store, sometimes it can be hard to get a realistic looking closure, but this one, y'all, again, Motown Tresses, that's where you want to be, because this wig came out so nicely. So then the next morning, I just wake up and kind of take my hair tie down and just really go through and straighten the hair again because it kind of crimpled up a little bit while I was sleeping. You saw me kind of pull a strand out the hair. That's my only bad thing about Motown Tresses. There was one little, I don't know if it was a plastic strand, a synthetic strand, what it was, but there was one that was burnt while I was doing this whole process. But that was the only thing wrong with this hair, y'all, I promise you. So this is what the style looks like right when it's, you know, everything's done, everything's all together. It looks super, super cute, super, super realistic. And at this point in time, I'm just showing you guys what the closure looks like, what the baby hairs look like, and all that. And this is where I fucked up. Why would I add that greasy sheen to my beautiful hair? So I put in a silk sheen on the hair, although the hair was perfect before without it, and that just weighed the hair down. It looked so bad after that I was literally forced to curl it because I wasn't gonna go around looking like a wet, greasy dog. It looked really, really bad. But once I curled the hair, it just looked so beautiful that I wasn't too mad at myself anymore. But that's the reason why I ended up having to curl it at the end, because I put all that grease in the hair. Even with that little mishap, the hair came out perfect, and I love the wig so much. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to the TAJmaholic family. See you in the next video. Bye!